Okay, now we're going to take a look at assembling these components for the wheel assembly. I do think in one of the other videos I didn't create a component, so I'll show you how you can go back and fix that because it will probably happen to you at some point. But the top plate and the axle supports, there are some common points that we can align or join. And once we put the axle in, we're going to create what's known as a concentric mate that is going to line up with these holes. You'll also notice that there is a distance in between. The distance between the axle supports is 58 from both machine faces. Well, the center section for the axle is 54. So we need 2 millimeters on both sides in order to center it. This is an offset, and I think it'll be on the Z offset, but we'll take a look at that offset. Then we have to do the same process for the wheel as it relates to the axle. The center section on the wheel is 50, with the center section of the axle being 54, so that's 2 millimeters on both sides. So we do need to center these. Okay, let's take a look at it. Knowing what we know already from an assembly, we need to call this something before we start inserting components. We have to name this file. So let's go wheel assembly 2 for this demonstration. And I'm going to start with the top plate. No rotation necessary here. And let's look at adding the axle support. So this is a component. I'm going to rotate this. I do have a like point here where this fillet edge is. I do have it on the opposing side as well. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. And I'm going to align this point and this point. Again, we're using that rigid mate. We don't want these to move. Maybe to check yourself, I'm going to run an interference detection. I have no interferences. I'm going to go with the second axle support. So again, an endless parts bin. I'm going to insert this again. I'm going to rotate it. And the fact that I have this like point to add the joint with a rigid mate makes this construction pretty easy. Okay. So I think the axle, oh, it is a component. No rotation necessary here. But what I am going to do is I want to align this face, this edge to this edge and join it. Uh-oh. There we go. Well, what has happened here is it's not centered. So it is not centered. This last joint that we created, I want to set an offset, and it happens to be this one. I want to set an offset of minus 2 millimeters. So this happens to be the Z offset, and I just manually moved this to see which direction I needed to go, which then set me onto the Z offset, so minus 2 millimeters. And now I have this axle centered in between. Now we'll get to do this again with the wheel. So I'm going to insert the wheel. No rotation necessary here for me. But I'm going to join this edge and this edge, so it's known as what's being concentric. And I know that I need to center it. And based on the measurements provided, I know that I need to move this 2 millimeters. 54 minus 50 divided by 2 is 2. So this time I did it all at the same time. I actually moved that Z offset. It just happens to be the Z axis to center the wheel. Okay, I think I got a problem. I think this axle support's not right. It sure is not. It is 58 millimeters from the top edge. Good teaching moment. Not planned. So if I save this, just like with your drawings, you can update your now assembly. And by doing so, I have also messed up the fillets. Yeah, I messed up those fillets. Of course not. There we go. Save this and update the assembly. Okay. If you did not make a part or component, so I guess I did. Let's just take the axle, for example. If you open that part up and you did not turn this into a component, just go back to it and you can, there it is. Now it's a component. But in the end, we have the wheel assembly. I hopefully have no interferences. No interferences. Everything's stuck together.